tiny troops, often overlooked and underestimated, managed to break Clash Royale not once, but twice in its history. At first, new players dismissed Skellies as worthless, barely worth even the single elixir cost. Yet as players climbed the ranks and mastered their skills, they began to uncover the true hidden power behind these seemingly harmless troops. Skeletons soon became incredibly popular, reaching 72.5% usage rate and establishing their position as the most used card in the game. This achievement was unheard of for a mere one elixir card, rivaling the popularity of even the most broken cards upon their release, such as the Phoenix, Night Witch, and the Little Prince. So, what strategies did top players discover that caused such a massive shift in the meta? How did these seemingly harmless troops manage to break the game not once, but twice throughout Clash Royale's history? This is a tale that reveals how skeletons rose from obscurity to become the most game-breaking card in Clash Royale. January 2016 marked the dawn of a new era, as players stepped into the captivating world of Clash Royale for the very first time. It was a period of experimentation, fun, and above all, curiosity. Players explored the game's vast array of cards and strategies. Woody carefully documented the top 100 battles of the best players from 2016 to 2017, providing pretty invaluable insights into the dominant cards and decks of that golden era. His first card popularity snapshot from January revealed a humble beginning for the Skeletons. With a mere 4% usage rate, only 4 out of 100 players included them in their decks. The Skeletons seemed destined for obscurity, overshadowed by the overwhelming dominance of the Wizard, which boasted an impressive 68% usage rate and was a staple in nearly every match. Yet beneath the surface of this Wizard-dominated meta, a quiet revolution was brewing. A handful of visionary players began to shake up the established order by leveraging the power of the free spell in combination with skeleton-based cards. These players saw the potential where others saw weakness. Decks featuring Skeleton Army, Skeleton's Tombstone, and Witch emerged as formidable troops, their synergy proving exceptionally effective in battle. Opponents were forced to use arrows or fireball to counter the relentless skeleton swarms, often to no avail. The rise of these innovative strategies marked the beginning of a transformative journey for the Skeletons. From the shadows of obscurity, they began to climb the ranks, driven by the ingenuity and determination of players who believed in their potential. The Skeletons were just beginning their era, and their legacy was destined to become one of the most compelling tales in the game's history. Plus, I mean, look at those cute little faces. How could they not be good? With the free spell in play, players could easily overwhelm their opponents with a well-timed skeleton push. At this time, Skeletons came in a pack of 4, as opposed to the 3 we now know today. The extra skeleton made them more effective in damaging towers, especially when used alongside the free spell. The rise in popularity of skeletons was partially due to a YouTuber called Molt, who highlighted their potential, leading to players excelling with skeleton-based strategies. In February, a game-changing update increased the Skeletons' hit points and damage by an impressive 11%, further fueling their popularity within the community. And as a result, the usage rate of Skeletons skyrocketed from a measly 4% in January to 12% in February, marking a massive 200% increase. But this was only the beginning of their rise to the top. It was nothing short of incredible to witness players incorporating Skeletons into a wide variety of decks. The once overlooked card was now becoming a staple in the strategies of both novice and seasoned players alike. The Skeletons' usage rate continued to climb, fueled by their newfound versatility and undeniable value. By March, Skeletons had reached a 25% usage rate among top players, thanks to their ability to counter a majority of cards, lure air troops across the arena, and enable quick cycle strategies to support win conditions. Hey, before we continue, I wanted to say that if you're enjoying this content and want to support the channel, please consider subscribing. My goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers this year, and your subscription would mean the world to me. Also, don't forget to join our Discord server where you can have fun chatting with other Clash Royale fans and discussing the latest meta changes. Okay, self-promotion over. Back to the Skellies. The most significant factor leading to the Skellies' surge in popularity was the untapped power of the Elixir Collector. With the low cost of 5 Elixir and high hit points, using the Elixir Collector frequently led to victory in matches, even if the opponent opponent had counters like Rocket or Lightning, Skeletons provided a cheap and efficient means to cycle back to the Elixir pump, ensuring its safety and granting a rather substantial Elixir advantage. The Elixir Collector's usage rate soared to 59% in March, becoming a key component in every deck archetype, complemented by the humble yet mighty Skeletons. This potent combination allowed players to establish a strong Elixir advantage and control the pace of the game, making it difficult for opponents to keep up. As a result, the Skeletons Elixir Collector synergy became a dominant threat in Clash Royale tournaments and ladder matches alike, securing their place in the meta. Even with the Skeletons' rise in popularity, Supercell felt they were still weak compared to other cards available. In May, they introduced another balance change, increasing the Skeletons' hit points and damage by another 5%. The impact of this update was nothing short of incredible. The usage rate of Skeletons soared to phenomenal heights, claiming the 4th spot in the entire game with an impressive 50% usage rate. Coupled with the Elixir Collector, which had reached a 74% usage rate, the Skeletons formed the most devastating combo ever witnessed in Clash Royale. One of the most popular decks during this era was the Hog Trifecta. The term Trifecta refers to the 3 key components of the deck: the Hog Rider, the Valkyrie, and Musketeer. When combined with the Elixir Collector and the cheap cycling and defensive capabilities of Skellies, this deck became popular among players, and they began to dominate the arena. Players were desperately looking for new strategies to counter this Hog Trifecta deck, but its versatility proved to be a serious obstacle.
Netware in the building. 700 P coins for everybody.
The meta in May was heavily shaped by this dominant deck, causing players to either adapt their own decks or risk being overwhelmed by the Hog Trifecta's pure power. The Skeletons, once dismissed as a weak and insignificant card, had now transformed into an essential cornerstone of the most feared deck in Clash Royale. Their journey from the fringes of obscurity to the height of strategic dominance was nothing short of legendary. Yet the Skeletons' reign was pretty short-lived. In June, Supercell recognized the overload of Skeletons in the meta and figured that the card's 1 elixir cost and 4 troop count provided too much value. Swift action was taken, and a new balance update reduced the number of Skeletons spawned from 4 to 3, bringing it to the card we know and love today. This nerf dealt a significant blow to players who had grown dependent on Skeletons in their decks, forcing them to adapt their strategies and find suitable replacements. The change also paved the way for other cards to shine and encouraged players to experiment with new deck compositions, which is always a good thing. Hence, many players turned to guards, whose usage rate rose to a staggering 70% in August, replacing Skeletons in most decks, and by September, the once beloved Skeletons had plummeted to a meager 9% usage rate. These constant meta shifts were shocking for loyal players, who had to adapt to stay competitive. Yet despite the nerfs, it's not surprising that Skeletons refused to fade into obscurity. As the curtain closed on 2016, a new era dawned, promising to resurrect the Skeletons, pun intended, and propel them to even greater heights, reaching unprecedented levels of dominance in the meta. The resilience and adaptability of these tiny troops would soon be put to the test once more, as they prepared to reclaim their throne in the ever-changing landscape of Clash Royale. Brace yourself, because the best is yet to come. February 2017 marked a dark and somber period for the once mighty Skeletons. Dethroned and forgotten, they lingered in the shadows of the meta, a mere echo of their former glory. Only a handful of loyal players still clung to the belief in their potential, while the rest of the community moved on, favoring more dominant cards. At their lowest point, the Skeletons' usage rate plummeted to a dismal 7% among the top ladder players by mid-February. Not a single top-tier deck included them, casting a shadow of doubt and despair over their future. Whispers of their demise circulated through the community, leaving players to wonder if this was truly the end of the Skeletons' lengthy and powerful reign. But all hope was not lost. Supercell, the old creators of Clash Royale, took notice of the Skeletons' devastating decline. The team began to question whether the previous nerf had been too harsh, stripping the Skeletons of their former vitality. Deep within the halls of Supercell, a decision was brewing, a decision that would alter the course of history for the Skeletons. With a spark of hope and a determination to restore some balance, Supercell decided to give the Skeletons another chance to shine. In mid-February, a new balance update arrived, increasing the number of Skeletons spawned from 3 back to 4.
When the skeletons were rebuffed to include 4 skeletons, it provided too much value, shutting down a musketeer and electro wizard completely. They offer far too much utility for 1 elixir. They're removing that 1 dude. This decreases their DPS from 268 to 201.
This change brought immense joy to skeleton enthusiasts who were thrilled to have their beloved Larrys back in action. Just 14 days later, on February 27th, the impact of the balance changes became clear. The snapshot revealed an astonishing resurgence of the skeletons, with decks like Golem Beatdown Skeletons, Hog Rocket Skeletons, and 3 Musketeer Skellies dominating the arena. The skeletons had not only returned, but had also claimed the 6th spot in the entire game, boasting an impressive 30% usage rate. Interestingly, the number 23 held a special significance. It represented the increase in players using skeletons compared to the previous snapshot from mid-February, when only 7 players had included them in their decks. However, scrolling down the list revealed a corresponding 23 next to the Skarmy. This curious coincidence suggested that players who had previously relied on the skeleton army had swiftly switched to the regular skeletons following the update. But this was only the beginning of the skeletons' triumphant comeback. In May, another 23 top players joined the skeleton revolution, pushing the card to the 3rd spot in the entire game with a 53% usage rate, surpassing even its previous peak of 50% from 2016. The skeletons' versatility and value were undeniable, as they found their way into every deck archetype. Players experimented with various strategies, discovering that skeletons were exceptionally effective at countering the prevailing meta, which featured giant graveyard beatdown and golem beatdown decks. Opponents were forced to use log or zap to deal with skeletons, always resulting in a -1 elixir trade in favor of the skeleton user. The skeletons had not only reclaimed their throne, but had also secured their position as one of the most famous cards in Clash Royale history. Despite a slight dip in usage during April, when their prevalence dropped from 53% to 46% among the top 200 matches, the skeletons remained a pervasive and formidable threat in the arena. Though this minor setback was a blip on the radar, as they still secured the 2nd spot, trailing only behind the loyal log. But the skeletons were far from finished. Their resilience and determination were unparalleled, and it didn't take long for them to reclaim their rightful throne. They rose once more, stronger and more indomitable than ever, ready to etch their legacy into the annals of Clash Royale history. In May, they surged to the top, sharing the spotlight with the log at an impressive 53% usage rate. As noted, quote, "Skeleton surged to the top, joined only by the log in over half of all top ladder decks." The skeleton's enduring popularity could be related to the incredible versatility and potential for elixir advantage. Their ability to cycle quickly and provide crucial distraction against high-damage troops made them a valuable choice in a wide range of situations. So as we approached June, the skeleton's dominance reached tremendous heights, further cementing their status as one of the few cards capable of breaking the game. Their numbers spoke for themselves. Skeletons are by far the most used card at the top of the ladder. An astonishing 72.5% of top players had embraced our little group of Larrys, with 145 out of 200 players including them in their decks. Even more remarkable was the vast gap between the skeletons and the 2nd place card, the Tornado. While the Tornado boasted a 46% usage rate, the skeletons stood a staggering 26.5% above their closest competitor. The difference was proof of the skeleton's unparalleled influence on the game. And as the meta continued to evolve, players eagerly anticipated the next chapter in the skeleton's epic tale, wondering what new heights these fragile troops would reach in the ever-changing landscape of the arena. Players across all skill levels, from the lower ranks of the ladder to the most elite competitors, recognized their fantastic value and adapted their strategies accordingly. As June of 2017 progressed, the skeleton's dominance reached phenomenal heights. With a 72.5% usage rate across all arenas, they shattered records and left an indelible mark on the meta. Never before had a single elixir card achieved such widespread adoption and influence. Supercell, recognizing the skeleton's overwhelming power, knew that action had to be taken to restore balance to the arena. In mid-June, a fateful balance update sent shockwaves through the Clash Royale community, reducing the number of skeletons once again from 4 back to 3. This minor change proved devastating for our beloved card, making the beginning of a dramatic and heartbreaking decline. July saw the Skeletons' usage rate plummet to 13% across all arenas, a stark and painful contrast to the previous dominance. This drastic shift underscored the impact that balance updates could have on a card's popularity and viability within the ever-evolving landscape of Clash Royale. The once mighty Skeletons were now struggling to find their place in the arena. And as months progressed, the Skeletons' decline continued, their presence fading like a distant memory. August saw their near extinction, with their usage rate among the best players dropping to a dismal 4.5%. And by September, the Skeletons had reached the nadir of their popularity, with a mere 2% of players including them in their decks. The card that had once been a staple in countless strategies was now a shadow of its former self. Their journey from prominence to near-forgotten status was a testament to the ever-changing nature of the game, where fortunes could shift in the blink of an eye. Yet even in their darkest hour, a glimmer of hope remained. As dedicated players continued to explore new ways to harness the potential of these powerful troops, awaiting the day when Skeletons would rise once more to reclaim their rightful place in the meta. As the Clash Royale landscape continued to evolve, our one-cost wonder found themselves struggling to maintain their once dominant position in the meta. With the emergence of new cards and strategies, players began to shift towards more versatile and powerful options, pushing the Skeletons to the sidelines. And in the wake of the Skeletons' decline, Goblins experienced a dramatic resurgence in popularity, with their usage rate soaring to 37% at the top of the ladder. This shift in the meta underscored the ever-changing nature of Clash Royale and the relentless need for players to adapt to new challenges and strategies. Yet despite their diminished presence, the Skeletons' impact on Clash Royale history remained undeniable. They had weathered the storm of balance changes and meta shifts, proving time and time again their resilience and adaptability. The Skeletons had been a cornerstone for players of all skill levels, offering a reliable and versatile option even in the most tumultuous times. A closer look at the Skeletons' performance and grand challenges revealed their steadfast value. In December of 2018, they held the 27th spot with a 10% usage rate, while the Barbarian Barrel reigned supreme as the most potent spell. By April 2019, the Skeletons had climbed up to the 23rd position, boasting a 12% usage rate, even as the Barb Barrel continued to dominate. Note to self, if I ever open up a bar, it's going to be called the Barb Barrel. Rolls right off the tongue. Well, pun intended. December 2019 saw them ascend to the 11th place with a 20% usage rate, while the Barbarian Barrel's nerfs paved way for the Poison to take its place. The Skeletons' upward trajectory persisted, leading to an impressive 4th place finish in March of 2020, with a staggering 29% usage rate, cementing their status as the second most used troop in the game. The introduction of new cards and balance changes continued to shape the meta, yet the Skeletons remained a consistent presence. From December 2020 to March 2021, they maintained a 16% to 18% usage rate, even as the Log and Barbarian Barrel were battling for the title of Best Spell. With the arrival of champions in December of 2021, the Skeletons once again surged in popularity, skyrocketing to a 20% usage rate and then claiming the second spot among the most used troops, just behind the irresistible Archer Queen. This trend continued into February 2022, showcasing the Skeletons' ability to thrive in an ever-changing landscape. As the meta continued to shift, the Skeletons adapted, maintaining a 15% usage rate and holding the 12th position in December of 2022. The Skeletons' resilience and adaptability have been a testament to their enduring value in Clash Royale. No matter the meta, Larry has always found its way to make its presence felt, reminding players of their potential and the importance of mastering even the most basic of cards. Yet the game's most revolutionary upgrade in 2023 was on the horizon, poised to usher in a new era and forever alter the course of Clash Royale's history. This monumental update promised to shake the very foundations of the game, presenting the Skeletons with their greatest challenge yet. In the early months of 2023, the Clash Royale community stood clueless of the seismic shift that was about to take place. The Evolution, released in June of 2023, would forever impact the flow of the game, introducing new abilities for 4 cards: Firecracker, Barbarians, Royal Giant, and Skeletons. Among these evolved cards, the skeletons struggled to find their footing. Players discovered that any 2-elixir spell countered the Evo Skellies, rendering them nearly useless in battle. Making matters worse, the game limited the maximum number of skeletons that could spawn at the time to 6, instead of the current 8, and it took 3 cycles to reach the Evo form, in contrast to the current 2. These factors combined to make the Evo Skellies the least impressive of the newly introduced evolutions. The Evo Skellies' lackluster performance was reflected in their poor usage rate of a mere 1.8% among the game's top players in August. Recognizing the need for change, Supercell set out to buff the Evo Skellies, hoping to make them a more viable option in the arena. A series of exhilarating buffs were implemented, igniting a spark of hope and excitement within the Clash Royale community. The developers increased the maximum Skelly spawn to 8, reduced the number of cycles required to reach their evolved form to 2, and boosted their attack speed from 0.5 seconds to 0.4. These changes breathed new life into Evo Skellies, catapulting them back into the spotlight and transforming them into a popular choice among players. By November, the Evo Skellies had seen a resurgence, with their usage rate climbing to 10%. One of the most potent decks at the time featured Royal Hogs, the Little Prince, and the buffed Evo Skellies. This combination proved to be a powerful choice in the meta, with Ian77, one of the world's best players, utilizing this deck to claim the #1 spot on the leaderboard. The split lane push tactic, using Royal Hogs and Evo Skellies in the middle of the arena, presented opponents with a daunting challenge. Defending against the Evo Skellies on both lanes required precise play and quick reactions, as a single misstep could result in a devastating 3-crown defeat. Yet, the rise of Evo Skellies was far from over. The buffs that had propelled them to a 10% usage rate were merely the first step to an even more dominant reign at the top of the meta. The true potential of these troops had yet to be fully unleashed, and the Clash Royale landscape was about to witness an unbelievable surge in their power and popularity. As January of 2024 began, the Clash Royale community was unaware of the impending update that would once again reshape the meta. At this time, Evo Skellies maintained a consistent usage rate of 10 to 12% across all levels of play, but their popularity was on the brink of soaring to new heights. The introduction of the Cannoneer, a powerful new tower troop, aimed to balance the meta and provide a fresh and exhilarating experience for new players. With its formidable cannon attack, the Cannoneer dealt massive damage to troops, but its slow attack speed left it vulnerable to swarms and cheap cards, just like the Evo Skellies. Top players quickly recognized the incredible potential of Evo Skellies in countering the Cannoneer, sparking a meteoric rise in their usage rate. The Evo Skellies, once a reliable choice, now became a terror in the arenas. Their ability to swarm and overwhelm the slow-attacking Cannoneer made them indispensable. By February, Evo Skellies had skyrocketed to 31.4% usage rate among the best players, representing a 1,700% increase compared to their initial introduction. This explosive resurgence was a testament to the adaptability and ingenuity of the game's top players, who harnessed the full potential of the Evo Skellies to dominate the arena. Mohamed Light, widely regarded as one of the best players in the world, illustrated this by claiming the #1 spot in February using a Hog Earthquake deck. Mohamed Light's deck proved to be a major threat in the meta, with the Evo Knight serving as a sturdy tank for the Princess or Cannoneer tower, the Hog Rider applying immense pressure, Evo Skellies providing cheap defense and split lane pushes, and the annoying Little Prince rounding out the composition. His mastery of this deck allowed him to dominate the arena, proving once again his position as a top player. Close behind Mohamed Light was Ian77, who secured second place with his renowned Royal Hog deck, which incorporated the Cannoneer tower. This deck's success hinged on its ability to pressure on both lanes using Evo Skellies and Royal Hogs, while the sneaky Evo Bomber dealt significant damage to enemy towers. The addition of the Little Prince, Tesla, and Royal Delivery made this deck difficult to counter, especially in the hands of a skilled player like Ian77. However, the reign of Evo Skellies as the dominant evolved card was short-lived. In March, Clash Royale introduced the first evolved building, the Evo Tesla. Its unique electric ability to deal with swarms upon placement made it challenging for Evo Skellies to reach towers and tanks.
Pops up. Woo! Look at that, it popped up the second time too. Yeah, what is it? All that pulse damage, 6 radius. This is basically a bonus. If you already play Tesla, it's a big bonus.
Causing players to explore alternative strategies. As the meta continued to shift and evolve, the Evo Skellies found themselves once again adapting to new challenges, showcasing the dynamic nature of the game and the constant need for players to innovate and adapt. Not only that, but in March, Clash Royale introduced the first evolved spell, the Evo Zap, which quickly dominated arenas. This shift in the landscape led to a decline in Evo Skellies' usage rate, dropping to 19%, a significant decrease compared to their February performance. But despite this setback, Evo Skellies still remained a crucial part of the game. In April, Supercell introduced the Dagger Duchess, a new tower troop that quickly became the talk of the town, boasting an impressive 90% usage rate and proving her position as the best tower troop in the game. Even in the face of such a powerful new addition, Evo Skellies held their ground, maintaining a steady 13.7% usage rate. This resilience demonstrated that regardless of changes in the meta, there were still interactions and decks where Evo Skellies could shine brilliantly. April's leaderboard saw the return of Mohamed Light to the top spot, utilizing his renowned Miner Cycle deck. The combination of Evo Zap, Little Prince, and Evo Skellies allowed him to defeat the majority of decks with ease. Mohamed Light's mastery of Miner decks had been a consistent factor in his success, frequently securing top positions throughout the previous months and years. Yet a new update in May brought about a sudden change that divided the player base. To balance the game for new players and enhance gameplay, Clash Royale developers chose to nerf every single evolved card. For Evo Skellies, this meant an increase in their first attack time interval from 0.4 seconds to 0.5. A minor change that actually represented a 20% reduction in attack speed. Initially, it appeared that this nerf would lead to a decrease in Evo Skellies' usage rate, but the reality proved far more favorable. In the Ultimate Champion League for May, Evo Skellies claimed the 8th place with an impressive 21% usage rate, strengthening their position as the best 1 elixir card in the game. This success was mirrored in the Grand Challenge stats, further demonstrating the Evo Skellies' ability to adapt and thrive in any meta. The enduring popularity of Evo Skellies can be attributed to their versatility, immense damage output, and the sheer danger they pose when evolved. As the meta continues to evolve with the introduction of new cards and balance changes, it's not unreasonable to imagine Evo Skellies reclaiming their spot as the best evolved card in the game, potentially surpassing their previous heights of success. The question remains, will we ever witness Evo Skellies achieving a 72.5% usage rate as seen with their non-evolved counterparts in June of 2017? While the ever-changing landscape of Clash Royale makes it difficult to predict with certainty, the resilience and adaptability of these humble troops suggest that such a feat is not beyond the realm of possibility. As the Skeleton's reign continued to shape the meta, it reminded me of another time when a card completely dominated the meta. And I'm talking about the day when the Royal Recruits absolutely broke the game. It's a fascinating story that showcases just how much impact a single card can have on the entire Clash Royale landscape, and I highly recommend watching that video next. Trust me, it's a tale you won't want to miss. I'll see you there.